Good afternoon, everyone. Obviously, as the topic implies, because of COVID-19 and pandemic, this year during the MINEX organizations, this is the way to communicate between ourselves. And I'd like to thank to the organizers of this gathering, and so I hope we will be able to exchanging our experiences, what we have done, what kind of experiences that did we get during the hard days of COVID-19 in Turkey. First of all, I should say that as in the many other jurisdictions, the pandemic restrictions started with the government mandates, in addition to our additional restrictions in workplaces and also in the offices. So as we started to get the first information regarding to the spread of pandemic COVID-19, we started to get some restrictions and some precautions in our workplaces and in the offices. So what we did actually, which was parallel to a governmental mandate, we started with measuring the body fever, and we started with keeping the physical distance and rearranging our canteens. And shortly after that, we started to give packed food, and in order to limit the contact as much as possible. And also we started to use the 50% of the service buses so that we can just keep the physical distance. And also in almost everywhere in the workplaces, we started to use that disinfection fluids so that our employees are going to have ability to disinfect the hands as much as possible, as frequent as possible. And also, immediately after that, we stopped, unless it's essential, we stopped the business travels, and we stopped accepting visitors to the workplaces unless it's the visitor group is coming from governmental agencies. And I think all these things started to play a very important role as the first reaction just before the announcement of World Health Organization regarding to COVID-19 as pandemic. And I see that during this period of time, many of the authorities, including governmental agencies or even World Health Organization, they started to get the precautions as they live with it, right? And in some countries it wasn't taken so seriously. In some countries it was taken very serious at the first day, and then now to be able to be frank, now we see the results of both approaches, and I believe everybody accepts that this virus is moving very fast and affecting people about age 65 and certain below a certain age and stuff like that. So we need to take care very seriously up until we see the vaccination and we see a medicine which is going to be effective on the virus. In addition to that, we wanted to make sure, in Turkey, first of all, I should say that in Turkey, you can't really go ahead and get one of the health organizations to do PCR test whether you have COVID-19 or not. So it's all regulated. In order to be able to get tested, you need to go to one of the authorized state hospital or authorized private hospital after the check. So that's why we couldn't really have tests on our employees, but we could have some of our employees tested based on the health check of a medical doctor. If they see the symptoms, then they can just send this person for COVID-19 or PCR test. So far, we didn't have any case in our workplaces, but I should say that during the peak days, I would say, we had several workplaces very close to our workplaces. We have seen cases up to 40, 60 in various industries close to our operations within the same province. But I should say that I'm quite pleased that our team at the mine sites, including health team at the mine sites, they have worked very hard to keep this thing away from our workplaces. So, in addition to the restrictions that I was explaining before, what we have also done, we have immediately passed to the flexible working timetable, and on the basis of that approach, we divided the team into two, Team A and Team B. Each team worked 1 week and stayed at home the following week. So that created really good condition to limit the possibility of contact to each other or carrying the virus from one to the other. So that was one other thing that we have done. And also, we tried to manage the situation from the governmental mandate point of view as well. We applied the governmental mandate exactly as it's required. So we sent the employees above 65 back to home, and also employees that had chronic illnesses, they were sent back to home as well. Up until the restriction was removed, they stayed at home, and when just before they start to return to the work, we applied 14 days of quarantine for these guys, and we accepted them after a serious health check. And so far, we don't have any, again, as I said, we don't have any case at the workplaces. One of the important things is that while you're doing all these applications or applying the restrictions or governmental mandate or corporate mandate, we wanted to be sure that there's a consistency between the operations under umbrella of El Dorado, and also we wanted to be sure that we have also a consistency within country between our operations. So this was really important because the employees, once they see that there's consistency of the restrictions and applications under the same umbrella, that is kind of giving its extra, how should I say, extra credibility that nobody is treated different than the other group. And this application was applied absolutely from top to down, all the employees, white collar, blue collar, and location X or location Y, or jurisdiction A or jurisdiction B. I think this was really important to be able to show that the company is taking the approaches very seriously. On the same extent, while we are doing all these in-house restrictions or in-house applications, we believe that as one of our main corporate value, communication was really important. And in that, two of our important values played a very important role. As I was saying, one of them is collaboration between the jurisdictions and the in-country operations, we really paid great attention to the communication. When it comes to communication, it is communication with the employees, communication with the union, and also communication with the provincial authorities. That goes with mayor, governor's office, and also state departments that are directly involved during those hard days. So I think we saw a lot of benefits of keeping the communication lines open. While we started to get some curfew days, we were fully prepared to be able to go to the governor's office to get the special permit to continue the operation and make sure that the operations are environmentally under control. So we had prepared all of our limited amount of workforce name list and the vehicle information, so that just before the curfews, because the curfews were announced, based on requirements, and most of the time it was coming one day before. So we had to be prepared for documentation of the papers and legal requirements. I think this brought a lot of benefit to us. While we were communicating to the governor's office, we were making all these documentation ready for the curfew days, and plus we were getting some information what's going on in the province. Is this thing is getting closer to us or approaching to us? Or what are the situations, where are the risky places in the provinces, so that we can keep our employees away from those places? So I think this was great advantage to keep the communication line with the ministries in Ankara and the governor's offices or provincial authorities in the province level. So it was a kind of orchestrated communication line between ourselves and the governmental authorities. One other leg that we paid great attention was the union. Although we were doing direct communication with our employees at the sites and the offices, but we believed that the union would be really important to give the messages to the workforce. While we are doing our communication, union would be doing the second line, which would give the chance to employees to double check the informations. So I think I would say that this was a great, highly appreciated action and approach by the union. They started to help us. They tried very hard to help us to communicate with the employees. And on that basis, I should meanwhile say that we have never brought any limitation to the incomes of our employees, even during the days that they could not really. So because of pandemic, we didn't really create any kind of income cut to our employees. So this was important message that we believe that we are going to get over this thing together if we really act together. One other thing that I'd like to mention, of course, the NGOs. As the deputy chairman of Turkish Miners Association, we, on the corporate side, I have one hat, and then on the NGO side, we try to make sure that there's full communication line on the NGO side. As the deputy chairman of Turkish Miners Association, I just wanted to keep the communication with the other NGOs and make sure that there's a common ground that the peers, all the other players in the industry and country could really benefit. What are the applications and what are the things that we could really show a consistent approach within the industry? I think that really brought a lot of advantage to our industry, and I should thank to the head of Turkish mining NGOs that they really played a great role. They just set up all these online meetings and try to make it possible for the head of the companies so that they can share their experiences. They can really see if they can get benefit from the applications in the other operations. And also, this really brought another advantage. So during the relations with the ministries, of course the companies are creating their own contacts and own relations based on the legislative requirements, but it was also good to be able to have involvement of NGOs so that the NGOs could really convey the message as a single message from the industry to the ministries. I think that was an important action, so that's why I just wanted to thank to the Turkish mining NGOs that they brought a lot of contribution to the communication. Finally, one other thing that I'd like to mention is the approach during those hard days regarding to the exploration activities. As the mining companies, you know, while we keep operating the operations, but we really want to keep going with the exploration activities. During those days, we really wanted to make sure that our exploration activities, drill sites, or the team that are working out in the field, we just wanted to make sure that there are certain rules and restrictions for this group as well. If we want to continue with the activities like drilling, like regional reconnaissance or exploration activities, we set up our own procedures parallel to the government mandate, and we just wanted to make sure that the team is under control that are working out of fence area. And I'm proud of explaining or declaring that we didn't have any case in the exploration team as well. And so this was another thing. And finally, final I would say, the offices, in the head office in Ankara, we just still keep applying the similar rules, like you know, if somebody is visiting us, we are trying to limit the visits to the offices, and if it's necessary, we measure the body fever, and we definitely apply the mask usage, and we also, if somebody coming from abroad, from a business trip or coming from holiday, we wanted to make sure that this person sees a doctor and gets a general health check before starting work, before coming into the office. So I think all these things brought us a lot of success regarding to keeping the pandemic away from our workplaces and offices. What I can say as the final comment, all of the industries, people that are living on the globe, we need to adapt ourselves to the new normal. Most likely, as everybody repeats to each other, nothing is going to be same as before. And we believe up until we see the vaccination or medicine for this illness, I think we have to keep we have to keep tight. We have to be tight on the rules. We have to be tight on the restrictions. And because this is the only way to keep our workforce, to keep our community, and also to our population in the countries in different jurisdictions. So that's why I really see that this was great opportunity for us to express our experiences. And once more, I'd like to thank to the organizers that allowed us in such an opportunity to give our message. Thank you very much.